Look at this shot. This was from the Matrix movie made in 1999. But at the time, this was considered the pinnacle of visual effects, and no movie came close to doing something like this. I mean, back then. The bullet time effect in The Matrix was primarily developed and executed by Manex VFX. This studio was the leading force behind the groundbreaking technology that required using multiple cameras to record this shot. But it wasn't straightforward, because they did not create the final camera rig in just one go. Instead, they experimented with different setups before arriving at the final version. Initially, the idea proposed by the Wachowskis involved using a high-speed, rocket-like camera to achieve the desired effect. But this method was quickly deemed impractical due to its complexity and the risk of equipment damage. Later, eventually, the team at Manex, led by visual effects supervisor John Gaeta, ultimately settled on a more feasible approach after experimenting with different camera rigs. The rig contained 120 cameras, in addition to 2 motion picture cameras. One motion picture camera is running at 120 frames per second, and the second motion picture camera is running at 150 frames per second. The rig can be shaped to any shape you want. You can do arcs like we have seen in the Neo or Trinity bullet time, and you can do S-curves, which I think provides kind of interesting effects, or maybe circles, which give you a 360-degree shot like we have seen in the subway shot that we're gonna talk about later. To know exactly where to place the 120 cameras, they first created a computer animation or a simulation of how the digital camera in the 3D animation software moves around Neo, showing the bullet time effect. Then they used a motion-controlled laser device, which was part of the innovative technology Manex VFX developed to achieve the iconic slow-motion shots. This device was crucial in ensuring that the array of still cameras capturing the scene were perfectly aligned and synchronized to capture the action from multiple angles simultaneously. So basically, the laser device was used to precisely measure and control the positioning of the cameras in the rig. So the laser pinpoints exactly where the cameras are gonna be, especially given the complex nature of the effect, where hundreds of still cameras were placed in a circular or semicircular formation, and the laser system was essential to maintain accurate camera spacing and angles. After the VFX artists create the digital 3D animation, the type of motion they choose in turn determines the FPS of the motion picture cameras. And since the cameras are capturing many pictures, this gives the filmmakers the ability to go back and forth in time as if the character going through the bullet time effect is frozen in time. This is evident in the Morpheus rescue scene, when Neo and Trinity bring a helicopter near the building where Morpheus was captured. Neo starts shooting hundreds of bullets from the GE M134 minigun at the agents. After that, Morpheus starts running and the agents open the door and start shooting at him. We can see the camera moving forward in a linear motion towards the leg of Morpheus. This was achieved using a linear bullet time rig, and this allowed the VFX team to go back and forth in time while Morpheus seems frozen, and even the water splashes around him, around his foot, seem also frozen. I believe the cameras were shooting multiple shots, which allowed the team to take the right frames in order to make everything seem frozen in time, which was honestly a very cool effect. The VFX team also used what is called interpolation, which is the process that includes the use of CGI environments to help fill the gaps in frames taken by different cameras in the rig. For example, in the metro fight scene between Neo and Agent Smith, you can see the bullet time effect taking place when the two hang in the air exchanging bullets, and the VFX team shot multiple photos of the metro that can be added to the green screen to create the backgrounds behind the actors, but apparently that was not enough. This is the case, as you can expect, because the bullet time effect is to some extent a slow motion effect in certain points. If we factor in the total effect of the camera comes to speed, then it kind of slows down to deliver a certain impact on the viewer. Then it speeds up again. Especially when it comes to the moment when the camera slows down. They needed more frames, which by the way were not shot using the cameras of the rig. The solution to this problem was to create digital in-between frames using 3D software. This basically means they create a kind of digital double of the real frames, or copies if you will, which come between each two frames shot by the small cameras in the rig. This allows them to extend the movements or slow down the motion, simply because if you want to extend the time of the shot, you have to have more frames, which makes sense. Moments ago, I said that the new CGI frames were created to fill the gaps between camera frames, but I forgot to mention that complete sets of 3D environments were created in order to make the process easier. Let's take the first bullet time effect that was shown in the Matrix movie, which was when Trinity fought police officers in that abandoned building. You can see in the film that the set looks real, because it is, and this is the case in all the shots of the scene except in the bullet time effect, because the set was recreated in 3D to ensure the perspective and the lighting remained consistent as the camera moved around, especially knowing that they are going to be interpolated with real photos from the cameras of the rig. So all the tables, chairs, lights and the laptop, in addition to the walls with all their textures, were recreated in 3D from scratch to help sell the scene. This attention to detail helps sell the realism of the effect, making it one of the most memorable scenes in the film. And by the way, in addition to VFX artists using CGI to smooth out the transitions between the frames, they also use CGI in some end-scene manner to enhance the visual effects. I mean little things such as the ripples in the coat of Neo and the distortion of the air around him during the bullet time effect, which heightened the surreal nature of the scene. The interesting thing is that the bullet time effect had ripple effects across the filmmaking industry, simply because it is too cool and iconic. For example, in the Watchmen movie, the bullet time effect was used to slow down specific moments when the character jumps from a window, breaking the glass. The camera lingers on these slowed down movements, allowing the audience to see the effect clearly, which I think is a great example of the bullet time effect. Another film that used the bullet time effect is the X-Men Days of the Future Past. It was featured during a scene involving Quicksilver, the super speed mutant. The scene takes place when the X-Men are breaking Magneto out of the Pentagon. As the guards fire their weapons, Quicksilver uses his super speed to move through the room. The bullet time effect is used to show the scene from Quicksilver's perspective, from which time appears to almost stop, with bullets hanging in the air, water droplets suspended, and everyone else frozen in mid-action. The camera moves through this slowed-down environment, following Quicksilver as he casually adjusts the direction of bullets, repositions the guards, and creates a chain of events that will play out when the time resumes in normal speed. And honestly, this was one of the coolest effects ever created in my opinion. To be honest, what the Matrix movie makers call the bullet time effect was done before in some music videos and by some small creators, but generally speaking it was popularized and made famous by the Matrix simply because it made it look cool and much more interesting. And there you have it guys. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want us to create content like this in the future, please subscribe to this channel to receive more videos like this. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.